What if I told you one of the most popular financial books of all time might be misleading you? Financial influencers quote it like gospel. But here's the hot take. Rich Dad, Poor Dad might be more myth than method. Yeah, it sounds harsh, but we need to talk about the gaps, contradictions, and yes, some straight-up fantasy wrapped in financial advice. Because this isn't just a book review, this is a takedown, a breakdown, and a call to wake up. So if you've ever felt inspired by Kiyosaki's words but never sure how to actually apply them, this one's for you. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a story-driven book by Robert Kiyosaki, published in 1997. He contrasts two father figures. Poor Dad, his biological father, a well-educated government employee, and Rich Dad, his friend's dad, an entrepreneur who builds wealth through investments. The core idea? Poor people work for money, rich people make money work for them. Sounds profound. But here's the first red flag. Rich Dad might not even be real. Kiyosaki admits the character is based on multiple people. That's fine for fiction, but for finance, that's a shaky foundation. Let's talk about the three big lessons Kiyosaki pushes, and why each one has a but. Lesson 1. The rat race is a trap. He paints the 9-to-5 grind as financial slavery. You go to school, get a job, pay bills, die broke. It's true, we're conditioned to follow a system. But escaping the rat race takes resources, access, privilege. Kiyosaki skips that context entirely. Lesson 2. Assets versus liabilities. He says your house, liability. A rental property, asset. Great framework. In reality, the line's blurrier. A paid-off home builds equity. A rental with no tenants bleeds cash. Lesson 3. Schools don't teach you money. 100% accurate. But he doesn't either. He gives mindset, not methods. No budgets, no strategy, just vibes. To be fair, here's where Rich Dad, Poor Dad nails it. It's a gateway drug for financial curiosity. It doesn't give you the plan, but it changes your lens. You start asking, why am I trading time for money? What if I owned something instead of clocking in? For people stuck in survival mode, that shift is powerful. The book breaks the illusion that the only path to success is climbing the corporate ladder. So, credit where credit's due. For many, it's the first time they hear about cash flow, passive income, or the idea that a high salary doesn't equal financial freedom. It doesn't make you rich, but it makes you think rich, and that's a start. But here's where the wheels fall off. The advice is wrapped in neat little lines, but the real world, it's messy. Don't work for money? Easy to say when you're not behind on rent. Buy assets? With what savings? The book assumes you're already financially stable enough to start investing or buying real estate. What if you're drowning in student loans? Or living paycheck to paycheck? And let's not ignore the contradictions. He bashes education but flaunts his degrees. Worst of all, many readers walk away pumped up but directionless. The book inspires but doesn't instruct. He also takes jabs at formal education while selling seminars, courses, and speaking gigs. Is that irony or marketing genius? Want to build passive income? Cool, but real estate is not a cheat code. It takes capital, research, management, and yes, luck. He says don't work for money, but built a multi-million-dollar empire selling seminars and books. Now let's fast forward to 2025. Does Rich Dad, Poor Dad still hold up? Kind of, but it's dated. In the late 90s, you could buy a duplex for the price of a used car. Today, first-time buyers are getting priced out of entire cities. And while Kiyosaki focused on real estate and small businesses, today's money moves include index funds, remote work, tech startups, crypto, love it or hate it. Kiyosaki's map is from an older financial landscape. Still useful? Sure, but it needs a serious update. This is what Rich Dad, Poor Dad doesn't tell you. How to actually analyze a real estate deal. What happens when tenants stop paying? How to set up LLCs or manage taxes? What to do when your side hustle flops? There's no risk management, no nuance. It's all the think like the rich and you'll get rich. But mindset without tools? That's just motivation overload. The problem isn't what Kiyosaki says, it's what he leaves out. Okay, so what can you take away from this book? Think like an owner. Even if you work a job, look for leverage. Investing, building, scaling. Question the system. Don't assume school and work are your only tickets to success. Start small. You don't need to buy a duplex tomorrow. Try a side hustle. Try fractional shares. Get educated. Not just motivated, actually educated. Learn taxes, learn budgeting, learn the math. Use Kiyosaki as a spark, but do not stop there. Read better books. Talk to real investors. Build a plan that fits your reality. Final take? Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the financial equivalent of a Marvel origin story. It gives you the backstory, the motivation, but it doesn't train you for the real fight. It's not a scam, it's just incomplete. If you're 18 and broke, it might change your life. If you're 35 with bills and kids, it might frustrate you more than it helps. So here's your challenge: that you've read it, read it again, but this time with a critical lens. If you haven't read it, then immediately move on to The Millionaire Next Door or I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Did this book inspire you? Mislead you? Both? I want to hear your take, because this conversation, it's bigger than Kiyosaki. It's about your money, your mindset, and what you do next. Hit like if this gave you a new view of the book. Subscribe for more no BS finance breakdowns, and check out the next video.